So on this note, I'm going to start today's session. NEP in short, we call it, but it is the National Education Policy 2020. And this is coming after a gap of 35 years. The last National Education Policy came in 1985. So it is exactly 35 years, which is a very, very long time. So you're just going to give me a few seconds. I'll share my screen and then we are going to start the session. In between, you are having any problems, you are most welcome to ask me any questions. You can stop and ask, right? So we are going to start with the session, and the session will be approximately 80 minutes. So once the screen starts sharing, I'm sure you are able to see the screen, I think, right? So National Education Policy 2020, Vision for a New India. You're able to see the screen? Cyril, sir? Can somebody answer this?
Yes, sir, we can see.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So in case there is a problem, sir, in between, please let me know. In case audio or video problem is there, please let me know.
Sure, sir. I'll do that.
Yeah,
thank you.
So National Education Policy, as I said, has been released after 35 long years. So it's a vision for a new India, so every time we were complaining about the Western countries and European countries being so advanced with their educational system. However, we are into that rote learning system for so many years. It was the teacher used to go to the class and deliver some lecture, and the students are supposed to copy it down, memorize that, and then the exam used to be held and the marks used to be obtained. So the new vision for India is to move from rote learning and memorization to experiential learning. So the main concept of NEP is that each child is unique. Each child is different. Okay, so far what were we doing? We were doing homogeneous methods for heterogeneous groups. That means you have a very bright child in the class, you have an average child in the class, you have a very weak child in class, you have special kids in the class. The lesson that we used to plan was same for everyone. Whether the child was very brilliant or very weak, our approach to education was same, because it's difficult for a teacher to plan different lessons because there may be a class of 40, 50 students. Now, how do we cater to different needs? So the NEP says now each child is unique. So we have to respect that. So what does the child like? So we are talking about multiple intelligence. Right now, we were not talking about, now see, there is a lot of emphasis on art integration, art integrated learning. That's all going to be coming up in NEP because, different kids are having different intelligence levels. So you are having a very good musician, his IQ will be pretty high as the topper of your school. But we never used to recognize that, oh, he is a good musician or he is a good dancer. So this multiple intelligence was not recognized. But the NEP is going to give weightage to kids who are having these intelligence, because now there will be a lot more choices. And these so-called extracurricular now are going to become part of curriculum, and equal weightage is going to be given for that. So we will have different methods for different kids, not the same methods, lecture method where the child goes and does it. Okay, so what is going to be the curriculum? The curriculum is going to change definitely. The NCERT is working on this, and the learning should be holistic, integrated, enjoyable, and engaging. Okay, it's not a one-sided process. It's learning from each other also, peer learning, learning from the teacher, and we also get to learn a lot of things from the kids. So it has to be holistic, integrated, enjoyable, and engaging. The children should be partners in learning, not mere listeners. See, in many of the classrooms, I have observed, the teacher is placed on a pedestal. There is a raised platform, although the idea was that the teacher should be able to see everyone. And in some schools, you will find that, especially in the primary classes, the chairs are arranged in a circular form where there is interaction possible. Children can interact. Teachers also sits down in the group and works together. So we are going to be, we are moving towards a system where each group can be recognized according to their talents, according to their individual needs. And it has to be engaging and enjoyable. So how many times do we really ask the kids what's happening around us? So you may be teaching physics. You're talking about motion. You're talking about sunrise and sunset. You're talking about color of the sky. But how many times do we actually show them this practically? Or you must be demonstrating some concepts. And everything thing that you explain in science, maths, social study, everything can be demonstrated outside the class. You know, most of the poets used to write poems under a tree because nature is the best teacher, isn't it? We learn so much from nature. But yet, the traditional method was to confine ourselves in the classroom, and the teacher is all powerful and start giving these lectures, and the student is just writing down. So we are going to move from that to something very, very different. So what is the highlights of this? First is checking of core competencies. Right now, the testing, if you see, is based on what the child does not know. Okay, you are setting a test. We are trying to set papers and see what the child does not know. From that, we are going to check what the child knows. See the words, change in wordings. If you set a paper to check what the child knows, and you are setting a paper to check what the child does not know. So we are going to change the strategy from child does not know to core competency. That means the basic concepts, right? So at different levels, we are going to check this. Then art integration. I'm sure you've already started this process in your school of integrating art into your lessons. When I say art, it's not only painting, drawing. There are so many parameters. It could be a slideshow, it could be storytelling, there could be role plays, puppetry, and so on. All this can be introduced in your classes as part of your art integration, right? Artificial intelligence is going to come in a big way. You know, we cannot stay away from this. However much we hate technology, we have to start loving it, because as per the new NEP, coding plays a big part. And this is already in the Western countries. You know, small kids at the age of 12, 13, they start making programs. But here we have only 1% of the kids who actually can do programs. And that is why if you see the Facebook, the person who gave Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, they started at a very young age in schools. So the school is a correct platform to give these children the first starting steps of coding. So they are going to introduce this at the middle school level. So I think that's a great move in which the future of the country is going to have bright prospects, because unless we train our kids, how are we going to get scientists, engineers and all? Not by rote learning. That is why in the human index or in any ranking of universities, India comes way down because of our rote learning, except for the IITs or the IIMs probably. The other institutions are not coming anywhere in the top 100. So this is the reason. Then virtual reality and experiential learning. Everything is to be demonstrated. Like if you take the international syllabus, there is very less of theory, more of practical. The child has to experience that. Unless we experience it and you try to give a concept, it is very difficult for the child to understand. A simple topic like gravity, right? You are throwing a ball up in the sky. And then what happens? It goes, the velocity keeps decreasing at a point, it stops, and then it starts coming down. And what is seen is that the velocity with which you throw up, with the same velocity, you are going to, the ball is going to come back. So if you're going to throw the ball only to a small height, that velocity also velocity will be less. So more the height. So this is going to demonstrate acceleration due to gravity, so many concepts, but we don't demonstrate it. Okay. So because we just say, okay, if you throw a ball like this and this. So experiential learning is about showing the kids. And when the kids are actually doing processes like this, then what's going to happen? It's going to be more clear to them because they themselves have done it. When you are doing something on your own, then the learning process is complete. If you're just explaining theoretically, then nothing happens. So in many of the subjects, you are having maths practicals, science practicals. And then what happens in many of the schools I have seen, okay, write down this practical without actually performing. So what is the fun in that? Okay, angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. Has the child actually done it in the lab and experienced it? Then it makes sense. Okay, so no use writing a practical without actually doing it. So that's experiential learning. Okay, then what are the key principles? What are the key principles? So when I talk about the key principles, the number one is respect for diversity and local context. Now, what is the meaning of diversity and local context? That means India is a large country. So many cultures are existing. So there is a need for unity in diversity, right? But at the same time, your local content. So if you are a school in Tamil Nadu, then that means your local flavor has to come. That means the child has to learn more about your state. The rivers are in your state, the resources which you have, the languages spoken, the dress, the food, the culture, the customs, So when the curriculum is designed, there has to be respect for the diversity. Along with that, the local content has to be preserved, right? Equity and inclusion, no child has to be separated. Okay, this child cannot study with us because of XYZ reasons. No, everybody, whatever caste, creed, religion, whatever is his status, we have to include all children. All children are the gift of God. So we cannot make a distinction in that. So equity and inclusion, which is wonderful as per our constitution. Community participation. Now, this is a very good thing that will be introduced in NEP. So far, what was happening, the teacher was coming into class and taking a lecture, going back. Now, what is the meaning of community participation is that you can involve your local community in coming to the school and taking classes. Okay, you can invite a farmer. Okay, you're taking a class on growth of seeds, what type of soil is required. So the farmer will come and speak to the kids because he's actually doing it, right? He is planting the seeds. So what are the precautions? How does he select the good seeds? What does he do to the seed? How does the plant grows? While the plant grows, does he use any manure or pesticides? So all this the farmer can say, or you can call a potter and say how the clay pots are made. And you can call a doctor and tell them about other medical things which are being discussed in your curriculum, right? So many people around you. It could be the parents of students. It could be your friends. It could be teachers from other schools. It could be resource people. You can invite anyone around your community and involve them. So right now we are closed. Okay, the teachers coming to the school and teaching, that's it. But we are not the masters of everything. We don't know everything. So we need to call experts. So community participation means the parents and all the stakeholders can be involved. All your good wishers, well wishers can be invited on particular periods, and then that class can be made more interesting because they have actually experiencing all those, right? And use of technology. We cannot stay away from technology. When the COVID happened, the kids were staying at home, but in spite of that, we learned all the things within a few days or months, right? We know how to use Zoom, Microsoft, and Google, this thing, and PowerPoints and everything. Most 90% of us learned after this, right? So how to prepare a lot of stuff, we never used to do it because the need didn't arise. But now use of technology is here to stay. Okay, not that after COVID, when children are back, then we are going to leave all this. This is going to stay. And whatever you are recording, that becomes, so when you're taking a lecture, some students are absent. So what happens? You will have to repeat that all over again. But if you have a YouTube video recorded, or you have a recording of your class, the child can listen it even before the exams. 5 times the child can listen and understand. So this is how technology has increased our pace of learning. And with the new NEP, what is going to happen? This is going to increase only, right? Okay, so now we come to the basic structure. So what was the existing structure as of now? You're already aware. The existing structure is 10 plus 2. So as per the NEP, now the new academic structure is going to be 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Now many people get confused. Why 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4? They will count this. 5 plus 3, 8. 8 plus 3, 11. 11 plus 4, 15 years. And I have seen many articles even in the newspaper saying that from 12 years, the education system has increased to 15. Okay. So have you ever wondered how this 15 has come? It is because in 10 plus 2, anybody wants to answer that question? How did this 15 come instead of 12? Okay. Since no one is answering, anyone wants to answer?
Inclusion of nursery?
Yes, sir. So 10 plus 2, we are actually starting from class 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 11, 12. Now what is happening in 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4? They are starting from the play schools. Imagine, from the play schools. So play school was never regulated by the government. So if you have a one-room house, you could start a play school. Okay, you didn't need any approval. You could teach them whatever you want. Some play schools will charge 1 lakh rupees. Some will charge 10,000. Some will charge 1,000. So there was no regulation. What they teach in that was not regulated. There was no syllabus. Some used to teach 1 to 10. Some used to teach 1 to 20. Some will teach only ABC. Other will teach A to Z. So now the NEP says that our education system starts right from the play school. That is the foundation. So your play school, nursery, KG, 1 and 2, that becomes your 5 years. Okay, so play school, that is even before the formal schooling, that is also part of NEP. Some guidelines are going to be issued that this is the minimum learning outcome. So LOs, that is the learning outcomes, are going to be released for every class. So before they actually join your class in nursery, KG or class 1, this is what the child should know, minimum. Okay, they're not going to go very high-fi, minimum learning outcomes. So what is going to happen? The minimum learning outcomes even for play school. So play school, nursery, KG 1 and 2, that becomes your 5 years. The first 5 years, the foundation years, the main where the child is getting the basic knowledge. So up to class 2. Then you have the next 3 years, that is class 3, 4 and 5. 3, 4 and 5. So 5 plus 3, 8 years is actually your primary education, right? Then you have the middle school, that is 6, 7, 8. So the next 3 that you see here, this is your 6, 7 and 8 middle school. And then 9 to 12 is combined as one senior school. So earlier it was 11, 12 separate. Now what is going to happen? 9, 10, 11, 12 is going to be clustered as one. So that is how we have this 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. It is not addition of the 3 years. It's only the same structure, but restructured in a different format. So you are actually completing the same thing only, but now the play schools have been introduced into this. So that is why it is called the 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Okay. So as I said, experiential learning is true learning. I have seen engineers who cannot fix a fuse, right? The fuse of the house goes and they will call an electrician, and they themselves must be electrical engineers, right? So a simple thing like fixing a fuse is not done because it was never taught to them. And so this is what experience. So you have a lot of concepts on short circuit, what is fuse, what are the characteristics of fuse, what is the fuse wire made of, what should be the characteristics of that, what is the function of fuse. You draw a lot of diagrams, explain, but they never know how to repair it because there is no experience. So experiential learning is actually doing it, not learning it in theory. So there are some people who don't know how to fix a tire. There's a car puncture, the tire is punctured. They'll have to call a mechanic to replace the tire. They have not ever changed the tire. Okay, so that this is all experiential learning. Life skills. There is a small leak in your bathroom. You don't know how to fix it. So what is happening? Experiential learning, a lot of emphasis is going to be given on life skills, which was lacking in our present education system. Our children are lacking life skills, basic things they don't know. Of course, people who are in the villages and all still have more access, but people in cities, they are so prone to calling an electrician or a plumber or someone who will sort out the issue, or a mechanic. So unless we are going to the field, doing things and experiencing all this, our true learning in the textbooks will not help us in real life. And that is why one of the major cause of unemployment in India is because they don't have really any skills. So you may be a BA, BSc, MSc, MA and whatever, but there is no life skills. Okay, communication may be very poor. So you have a lot of knowledge, but you don't know how to communicate that. So that becomes a problem because the communication training or the correct way of pronunciation or the body language, etc., was never taught by experts. So if you're going to call a communication expert and maybe courses in English or any language, not only English, any language for that matter, and you are able to deliver your content well, then your scope of employment becomes more, even with the limited knowledge you have. But if you have a lot of knowledge and you cannot communicate to another person, then it is as good as no learning or no teaching happening, right? So there are great teachers who have a lot of knowledge. They must be PhD and the brain is filled with knowledge, but the communication is poor, due to which children are not able to understand. But there may be a simple graduate who have a lot of life skills, and his classes will become interesting because that teacher has actually experienced all this. So the passion of teaching will be reflected in his voice, in his body language. And that's what children are going to look for in a teacher's class. That is the teacher really excited about teaching this, or they have just memorized something and delivered a lecture and gone back. So it is, your passion for your subject is infectious, and that happens when you yourself have experienced it. So teacher plays a great role of a mentor in this, and if you are not, then you are free to learn or invite other experts where you are going to moderate the sessions. Okay, so you need to be a facilitator for true learning, not textbook memorization and rote learning. Right. So as I said, it's going to be divided into 4 stages. So what is the new thing that we can expect? So in the secondary stage, that is I'm starting from 9, 10, 11, 12. It is going to be multidisciplinary study with greater critical thinking, flexibility, and varied choices of subjects. Very, very interesting. Varied choice of subjects. Right now, a student in class 9 has got a fixed choice. You have to take English, Hindi, or whatever your language that you are having, maths, science, social studies, etc. We don't give them choices in 9th. The choice comes in class 11 and 12, where the student says, okay, I want to go to for humanities or commerce or arts. Right now in 9th, there is hardly any choice, right? The student has to do it. But now they say...
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes.
Can you please go to the presentation mode because it's too small for us to see the slides.
You want... okay. You want the full screen?
Yes, sir.
Is it okay now?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. So, as I said, the multidisciplinary study, class 9, we are going to give more options. We are going to give more options. And now they are saying that the choice which we used to give in class 11 and 12, the class 9 students should be able to choose right from class 9. So in class 9, what is going to happen? A lot of subjects like music, painting, art and craft, singing, all that can also be taken as a subject along with your so-called hardcore subjects like math, science, and so on. So you can take any 5 subjects. So it is going to be a common practice, just like in Western countries, to take English, maths, and let's say music and painting, right? Because the child is inclined to music. Now what used to happen was, the child used to get, it was a graded subject. So right now that is going to change, and these so-called extracurricular is going to be part of the curriculum, and the child will get equal weightage for that. That means it is going to be a 100-mark paper. Okay, not that you have to select humanities and then go for painting or music. No. So a science student can also take up music, right? So this is how it's going to be. And in the middle stage, it's, as I told you, introduction to coding. That is the biggest thing that is going to happen in 6, 7, 8, introduction to coding and experiential learning. So that is the time when children have, the concepts are good, and now they have to experience all that. And then comes your next, that is the preparatory stage. That is the class 3, 4, 5, the playway and discovery method and interactive learning. Okay, sit down in small groups, discuss things, role plays, puppet shows, storytelling, allow the children to interact more, and they will play with the clay, play with sand. They will make cardboard structures, 3D shapes. They can do a lot of things by playing and discovering and interactive learning. So that means peer learning. So not only what the teacher is saying, but also that. And the first 5 years, that is, I told you, starting from the play school, nursery, KG 1 and 2, activity-based learning. So you have, it's not a learning and then activity. It is going to be activity-based learning. You think of an activity, the child does it, and then the process starts. So you are going to introduce, let's say, addition in the class. So you will say, first go and collect stones outside your classroom. So everybody will bring the number of stones, and then they start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have collected 5 stones, right? So that is a way of activity based. You give an activity and then you start counting, or you identify some patterns. Okay, you can say identify 5 circular objects around you. So what is going to happen? The child is going around looking at the clock, looking at circular things and noting down that. So that becomes activity based learning. So it's not that this is a circle, this is the radius, this is the circumference. No, let the child observe nature and find out this, right? So to do all this, the major thing that teachers are worried about, how will we finish the course? The course is too much. So NEP says we are going to reduce the curriculum by 30%. Okay, so don't worry about curriculum. You will get plenty of time for all these innovations and interact. It's going to be very, very interesting if implemented in the proper sense. NEP 2020 is it's going to redefine the process of education. It's going to be very, very interesting, not only for the student, but for the educator, provided you know how to conduct your classes. So it's not going to be, curriculum based only. So it's going to, because the curriculum is only going to test our basics and fundamentals, not, the detail. Some people, teachers have this habit of setting questions like this. From somewhere in the boxes, or children don't normally read, there will be one question from there and the child is not able to understand. And the teacher is excited, oh, good, I have set a question where nobody has answered. So from that mode, we have to change to Testing of basics. So if you have taught a chapter, is the child knowing the basics and the fundamentals? That's enough for life. Okay. No need to go into intricate details. That's okay for good. But every child need not be tested on it, because we are going to go with the minimum learning outcomes. Give them more experience of learning rather than testing them and finding out what they don't know, right? So we are going to promote the spirit of inquiry. Let them ask as many questions. Some teachers get irritated. Hey, don't ask too many questions. That guy always keeps disturbing me in the class. He asks too many questions. You know, those are the guys who actually make it in life. The people who question. And then what happens? Everybody ridicules the peer. This fellow is still disturbing in the class. Sit down. The teacher may ridicule. The other friends may ridicule. Then what is going to happen? The child will never ask questions. If you see a small child, if you 2 year or 3-year-old, how many questions the child asks the parents? What is this? How does it work? As the child grows, everybody says, shut up, shut up, shut up. And the whole spirit of inquiry is gone from the child. And school also same way, the child is asked to shut up. So we are taught to shut up. And then what happens is that the spirit of inquiry is dead. Nobody is able to ask questions, right? So we have to promote the spirit of inquiry and discovery in our kids. If you see, the list of inventions, nowhere Indians have actually contributed to any major invention as such. All this is going to European countries and American countries. Why? Because they are spending a large amount of money on research and the spirit of inquiry. The child is free to ask anything. Okay, the teacher and the student is on the same platform. So you may be aware, they don't even call sir, they address you by name, Mr. Matthew or whatever it is your name is. So this is what the culture is. So what happens is that the child is very free to ask. Here there may be a fear factor. Teacher is very strict and you are afraid to ask, or the teacher may ridicule you, you are afraid of asking, or the teacher is discouraging you, or the children make fun. Always it's not the teacher, or the child may be an introvert, shy. So all these are problems which we have to remove in NEP 2020. So that is what is called holistic education. We have to look into the child, what the child needs. The teachers also prepare accordingly. And then there are going to be a lot of development in the classes. Interactive teaching with reduced dependency on textbook. Never go to a classroom and start reading textbooks. That's the most boring thing that can happen. Whatever subject is there, of course, in literature and English and Hindi, you may have to read chapter. That's okay. But when you read a chapter, always have your inputs. But never in math, science, and even in social sciences, you can explain the whole thing in your own words. Probably reading is just a part of that. You can keep it to 10%. But the explanation, you are reading a poem in class, but you can explain it. You can make it so dramatic that the children are taken into a different world altogether. It's up to the teacher to take the child into that space, into that dreamland of that story, where the child enters into that characters, right? So you could do a role play where each child actually gets into the character of that person and starts emulating his characteristics. Or you yourself could get into the character and speak like that character. So that brings a lot of energy into your classes, right? So it has to be a lot of interactive teaching with reduced dependency on textbook rote learning. Never encourage the child, okay, underline this. This is very important. This will come in the exam. I'm going to ask you a question. Just remember this. This will come in the exam. So that is rote learning, mugging up things. Okay. So from rote learning, from memorization, we have to go to better forms of education. So creative, collaborative, and exploratory activities so that students enjoy learning, not copying from Wikipedia. Okay, I want you to make a project on this. Everybody going to Google and copying the same damn thing. So 40 projects are having the same thing because they have copied the whole thing from there. So exploratory activities. So what do I mean by exploratory activities? Give the child imagination to think. So right now you must be doing art integration. The kind of things that children are submitting is amazing. If we have time, I can show you some things which children submit. Amazing creativity. I mean, you can't even think. You know, children are much more creative than we are. So give them the freedom. Okay, life cycle of a butterfly. You just give them the topic. See how you can do this. Some people are using clay. Some people are using fruits. In the end, if Cyril sir permits, I will show you some samples. Amazing things children are able to give you. Which you won't even imagine that kids are capable of doing this. So let the imagination, let it run wild. Don't stop them. because children are the gift of God. You know, they have that power to think and give you amazing results. So give them that freedom. Don't restrict them. I want in this format. Okay, this should be in this. You go to this particular website and take out that. That is actually reducing the creativity of the child. So allow the child to do whatever the child feels, what the inner creativity of the child has to come. Okay. So as I was talking, the multiple intelligence. Now, multiple intelligence, we always have given traditionally importance to marks. Okay, how many marks did you get? I got 90. How many marks did you get? I got 60. Oh, 90%. This guy is better. That is the normal conclusion that we used to take. Now, when multiple intelligence in NEP is going to be considered, you know, people like the famous musicians, if you see, like, for example, Michael Jackson or Beethoven. Now, Beethoven was a deaf person, but he has composed the best form of music the world ever knows. So you see, and if you check his IQ, probably it's going to be higher than Einstein. A deaf person is composing music, or there are other like Stevie Wonder. He was a blind person and he is sings amazing songs. So these are all examples. Even in our classes, you will be surprised at the talent which will come out when instead of this rote learning, we are going to shift from their other potential. Okay, somebody is a dancer in your class, somebody is a singer, painter, whatever. And when they are given that opportunity to show something, then the results are going to be amazing. Right now, our classrooms are only focused on textbook learning, and that is the problem. So we are going to strive for holistic development of the learners and differential learning to be acknowledged. So some learners are very fast. Okay, you give them 10 sums. Oh, ma'am, I have finished within 5 minutes. And another fellow will be doing the first sum only for the next 30 minutes. So differential learning means what? Every child has a pace. So we need to acknowledge that. So NEP has got provision for each child's pace. Learn at your own pace. So there are two types of learning that happens. One is called the synchronous learning and one is called the asynchronous learning. So right now what is happening? Synchronous learning. Like you are attending this webinar right now, right? And you are learning with me. I am learning from you. This is called synchronous learning. So if you are conducting a class and the child is present in your class, the child learns. If the child is absent in your class, the child is not able to learn. The child misses the class. Oh, you were absent yesterday. Yesterday I had explained this. Now what can I do about it? Now you learn on yourself, by yourself. And the poor fellow has missed their previous class. Now he will not be able to attend that. So from synchronous, now what is going to happen? Asynchronous learning. Asynchronous meaning learning is a continuous process. Anywhere, anytime learning. How beautiful is that? Anywhere, anytime learning. Today you are sitting in Tamil Nadu, I am sitting in Delhi, but still we are learning from each other because of the technology. We couldn't even imagine this some years back, right? So now this video, some of you are seeing and you want to see it later, you want to refer to this. So I will be giving you a recording of this. So that becomes asynchronous. You can always refer to the video. Not only today, maybe 6 months later, 1 year later. So that's asynchronous. Just like you must be doing courses from the Diksha app, from CBSE portals, right? On the Diksha. So all that, what is going to happen? It's asynchronous learning. Okay, one teacher is learning in the morning and finishing by night. In one day, one course over. Another teacher may be taking 5 days. That is called asynchronous learning. So same way, when the government is giving provision for teachers to learn asynchronously, then we should also give that freedom to our students. So NEP 2020 emphasizes that differential learning is to be acknowledged. We cannot emphasize that I want this by tomorrow with everyone. Everyone come prepared with this tables of 1 to 15 by Monday. One poor fellow in your class may be unable to do it, although in spite of his best efforts. And then, although corporal punishment is banned, there may be some teachers who are very strict, ask them to leave the class or take some punishment, which is not as per the law. We are not supposed to do that. So this is what happens. So we expect a lot from our kids. Do this by this. Without understanding that different children may have different needs. There may be problems at home. The poor child may not have eaten for that day, or his father must be without a job. So we need to be sensitive to the situations of the family. We need to be sensitive to the needs of the child, and we need to be, emotionally connected to the child. We need to build that rapport. So we know exactly, okay, this child, if I tell them that child to do by tomorrow, it's difficult because of this problem. The child may be a slow learner. So give them 1 more week. What is the hassle? So learn at your own pace, anytime, anywhere. Okay, if you are recording your class, see, kid, I have taken this class today, but what you can do, I have this recorded on my YouTube channel. So what you can do, you go, when you are free in the evening, just listen to the class once more. And if you are free to day after tomorrow, listen to it again. If you have doubts, then you come back to me. So you are, what are you doing? You are encouraging the child for asynchronous study. Okay, so now focus on learning objectives and subject integration. So good news for people who are into sports, arts and all, it is going to be integrated with all subjects. So far the sports teacher used to say, oh, I am sports teacher, I will be in the field, I will not do. Now what is going to happen? Sports and arts are going to be integrated. So you can involve sports. Now sports has a lot of science and maths in it. Okay. What is the weight of a cricket ball? What is the size of a basketball court? What is the weight of that? What is the radius of a ball? What is the force with which we have to throw? What is the angle with which we have to throw a shot put so that it reaches maximum distance? How to measure distances? How to create tracks? All this is mathematics and science, right? So a lot of sports can be integrated into your daily teaching, even for subjects. So you organize a match between two and you are writing the experience of that match in English and Tamil or whichever language is there in your school. That sharing of experience, that it's experiential learning. You not only played the match, but you're writing that experience and expressing yourself. So art, sports and ICT to be integrated with all subjects. Every subject can be integrated without exception. If anybody has a doubt, they can ask me. I can tell you in every subject how to incorporate it. Anybody is having a doubt so far? At any point of time, please stop me and ask. I have no problem. Is it okay?
Yes, sir, you can continue. We are following you.
Yeah, thank you. Then development of scientific temper, promoting human and constitutional values. Human values. Now, human values are, what to say now? People are not respecting others. If you read the newspaper, you don't feel like reading because what are the atrocities on women, on children, on old people? It's disgusting. Where are we heading to? Are we really human beings? I mean, when the World War was over, we thought that the worst of humanity is over. But every day newspaper, we see worse and worse news. Who's to be blamed? Who's to be blamed? Are the parents to be blamed? Our education system is to be blamed? Are schools to be blamed? Who's to be blamed? The society in large. Why? Because we are not able to create that emotional connect in our schools. Okay, today they are friends. Tomorrow, why are they killing each other? It shows that there is no tolerance for caste, sex, there's a creed, religion, all that. Okay, you find that, okay, this fellow is belonging to this caste, so I will not sit with him. So it speaks on the society at large. So what are we going to do? Promoting human values is very, very important, and NEP is going to emphasize. I'm glad that they have brought this again and again, promoting human and constitutional values. So we are in a country like India, which gives equal consideration to everyone. Nobody is above the law and everyone is equal before the law. How wonderful is that? So we are proud Indians because of this fact, because of our constitution, and we need to promote that in our children. Our children should stand for us whenever the need is, for their teachers, for their school, for the people around them. And okay, so that, you know, when it spreads from 10 to 100 to 1000, that becomes a mission. So the mission for NEP is that no hard separation between curricular and extracurricular subjects. There should be no separation between curricular and extracurricular subjects, which means that, as I told you, if you are going to give them options like music, art and all that, everything can be incorporated in this. So depending on your school, what are the facilities, infrastructure, how many teachers you have for anything, you can give them these options. Vocational skill development, I think that is the most needed thing in this NEP 2020. Give training to our students so they get jobs. What are they going to do with all this memorization and giving exams? I've got 90%, but they don't know how to do what. Which officer is going to give them a job without skill? So give them skills, give them training in computers, give them training in something which they can apply in real life. Otherwise, all this is going to create, just degrees. That's all. Earlier, there used to be a fashion, if you see, some 20 years back, sir, can I have your visiting card? And his visiting card will be full of degrees. BSc, MSc, PhD, this, and the full, the whole card used to be filled with degrees. Okay. But now what is happening? Google is employing big companies like Google, Microsoft. They don't see the degrees. They will say, what is the skill you have, beta? What is the skill that you have? Are you in class 10? but you are able to do this project of mine. Are you able to do this programming? Are you able to create something which these PhDs are not? Then I am going to employ you. So I have some I know some students who are already working for Google. They are just in class 10, 11, 12. They're already employed. Why? Because they have got that skill set. So they, in future, remember, the degrees or big degrees without actual implementation of the skill is hardly going to be of use. What is important is to develop your skills. So this is a very good thing, that vocational skill development. Where am I going to train my kids so that they become something in life which is practical for them in life, not just studying something and not using it anywhere. So you may be a maths teacher or science teacher, and the first question that the student will come and ask is, sir, where am I going to use this in life? Isn't it? It's a very common question which people ask. Where am I going to use this in life? So vocational skill development, everywhere we are going to use in life, right? Whatever we do in our daily life is going to be used through vocational skill development. Emphasis on digital literacy. So that I think during COVID times, without unknowingly, the NEP has actually been followed here, that digital, everybody is connected through some WhatsApp or through mails or through Microsoft Teams, some platform schools are providing, and, you know, or through TV channels, some form of education is happening, right? So digital literacy is going to be emphasized. So it's no longer going to be only classroom teaching. It's going to be both classroom teaching as well as the digital formats. And multilingual teaching. Now, this is a very debatable thing that has come up. That is the multilingual teaching. That is, you are a school in Tamil Nadu and you are an English medium school. Am I right, Cyril sir? You are an English medium school?
Yes, sir. True.
If you're an English medium school, now the normal way of teaching would be English, isn't it? But now, as per the NEP, they say that even if it is an English medium school, the teaching can be multilingual if the child is able to understand. That means the emphasis is going to be on the mother tongue. Okay. So if the child is able to understand in Tamil, then you are free to use Tamil and explain. Okay. Here in Delhi, what we do, okay, this guy is not able to understand in English. Okay, come here, child, 5 minutes, and we will start teaching in Hindi, because the child may be able to explain better. So NEP says in the 3-language formula, the multilingual teaching is possible. Even though it is an English medium school, you are free to use that. But it is the school's decision that which are the 3 languages you are going to take. Okay. So here in the north, we take Hindi. Instead of Hindi, you may take something, your native language, your local state language, so which is going to be Tamil in your case. So when you're taking up that subject, okay, then what happens? The child, if the school feels that the child is able to understand better in the mother tongue, then please do ahead. If you think that English is going to be a better medium, then take up English. So the idea is that the child should learn, but the school should give, and the government is giving freedom of multilingual teaching when it is going to be implemented, especially not in senior classes, especially in the lower classes. Because when the child is 2 or 3 or 4, probably the first language which the child learns is the mother tongue. And suddenly you are introducing them to English, half the things will bounce over their head. The teacher will come here, and probably the child is not able to understand, because the background of the child may not be such that parents are English speaking. But the child will definitely understand the mother tongue, right? Because that is being taught in the home. So whatever is there, that of course the management will decide that what works best in those situations. Then comes mental and physical health. Mandatory for students to acquire skills in health and nutrition. It's going to be mandatory, because now a lot of people are having a lot of health problems. Why are health problems coming? Because of lack of exercise, lack of proper nutrition, because many of them don't know, and many of them don't have access to it. Reducing weight of school bags. Already the notification has come out that for different classes, what should be the weight of the school bags. Otherwise, poor kids, I have seen class 1, 2 kids, with back breaking load with 15, 20 kg, poor children used to carry all that. So that's going to be reduced. And then training in first aid and public hygiene. Very, very important. Public hygiene, India is such a populous country. So hygiene is very important. Otherwise, what will happen? Diseases spread. Even a simple flu or fever or whatever is there, there are some precautions that we can take. And first aid is very important. Child falls down. What the children around only should be able to give the first aid, not rush to a medical room and sought the help of a nurse or doctor or a teacher. So they should be given training in first aid. What happens in such situation? What happens if there is a fire? What happens if there is an earthquake? What happens if the child falls down? what happens in burns, all this training is given. Then hire counselors, because certain things are beyond us teachers. We are not trained psychologists or counselors. So we need professionals who can deal with special kids. They need to be counseled separately. So it is important that we have specialists who can take care of this. Focus on children with disabilities. So far, many of the schools, they used to refuse admission. Oh, this child is disabled, we cannot take admission in our school because of this reason. And there will be other children may laugh at him. He will not be able to adjust. So we are not able to take the admission. Our school is not equipped. We don't have ramp. We don't have this facility, that facility. And they used to excuse. But now the government says that children with disabilities also should be included in the regular schooling. There is no separate schooling required for them, unless of course it's the degree of disability is to a great extent where it is not possible. That is a different thing. But with some form of disability, especially physical handicap, all those can be adjusted in our regular schools, and we need to create infrastructure, some basic infrastructure for that. I can tell you example in my school, we don't have great infrastructure for disabled kids, but we always used to do what? When the child that used to be a disabled child, we used to shift that classroom to the ground floor. So if as the child used to come from 6, 7, 8, he ultimately passed out of school, every time he used to get promoted, that classroom we used to bring down. So small adjustments we can make. Otherwise, when he was a small child, I remember his father used to carry him, and then bring him to top floor, because he was small. And then when he became big, obviously it is not possible for the father to carry that, grown-up son. He was not able to walk due to some nerve problem. And he used to come in a wheelchair. Now he cannot carry him to the 4th floor or 3rd floor or 2nd floor. So what happened? The principal was very kind enough to shift that classrooms there, and we had many 2, 3 more boys. So wherever this sort of the small arrangements can be done. So we cannot refuse saying that we cannot adjust. Small adjustments can be made and everybody can be included. And so that is the focus on children with disabilities. Okay, God has been kind that He has made us fit and fine, but at the same time we have to be sensitive to the kids of disabled kids. Also, we need to be sensitive to their needs. So it has to be an inclusive and caring culture in the schools, right? So, are you all tired? You need a break, or shall we go on, sir? Normally after half time I give a break, but if you say, I can continue and finish off. Cyril, sir, are you there?
Sir, we'll take a break of 5 minutes, sir.
Yeah, so we can take a break of 5 minutes and then we can join back after 5 minutes. Right, sir?
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes. So effective implementation of NEP requires a lot of planning and innovation. Right now, the planning stage, the curriculum is being developed. So the idea is to implement from 2021 the idea was to implement from 2021. Curriculum is still in the initial stages, but it's going to take, I think, a few more months. So it's a big question mark whether we are actually going to launch in 2021 or it's going to take another year more, 2022. So let's hope and see that the books are being developed. Otherwise, the plan is in place, and now we have to wait and watch when the curriculum is going to come out. So when the curriculum comes out, then we can know how to empower our students through flexibility in course choices. So what are the choices that they are going to get? What is the curriculum? How much reduction is there? What are the options available to us? We will only come to know when the textbooks are released, hopefully next year. So the whole thing requires a lot of innovation. The whole thing requires a lot of innovation. So if you are a person who is a textbook person, then you are going to find it tough, because you need to do a lot of innovation. So one of the things that can be, it's going to come is promotion of peer tutoring. That means don't hog the limelight. That means, some teachers will not allow the child to speak at all in their 40 minutes. Everything that the teacher says, only that is right. So allow peer tutoring means learning from one another. So ask the child to prepare something and come. That child will do that for once a week. Another child will be given another chance. Ask them to make PPTs, ask them to do some role plays. So all this is promotion of peer tutoring. Bagless days to learn new skills. Now the government has said that we should have around 10 bagless days. 10 bagless days. That means approximately once in a month, bagless days. How interesting is that? The child will come without any bag. So when the child is coming without any bag, there is a lot of pressure on the teachers. What are you going to teach them? You must be knowing it is very difficult to keep a class of 40, 50 without their books and kits. The easiest thing is to tell them, okay, take out your notebook, start copying down this, whatever I'm dictating or whatever I'm writing on the board, that is important. And the child is busy copying it. So you are engaging the child in something which is very monotonous, writing from the blackboard or writing what the teacher is dictating. But now what is going to happen? Learn a new skill. As I told you, invite people. If you are not an expert, no problem. You can learn or you can invite people from for these bagless days. Contact the local artisans. What are the kind of handlooms they are making? How do they go about it? What is the process of dyeing? So all these are part of the curriculum. We are talking about conversion of wool into let's say a cloth product. But how is it going? We just read. We have never seen. So a person who is actually doing it, he explains the process. He explains the whole thing. Maybe go to the factory, visit the factory and see how it is done. So that becomes real learning. And when the bagless days are going to be, it's going to be a challenge because you're going to call so many people and, engage them with the student. It's going to be an experience for them because, when you share experiences, some people get motivated. Like if you do career counseling for kids, normally what happens is that all will come and speak about only the good things. I mean, oh, go for engineering, it is very good. Go for medicine, it is number one. Or you become a lawyer, this. So that becomes what? It's a career counseling is just the person is coming and telling you the advantages. But when you talk about these bagless days for skills, the person will come and actually tell you the ground realities. Okay, I am a farmer. I bring this. These are the problems when I start growing the seeds. The birds come and eat it away, or there are other rodents which will attack it. So tell them the pros and cons. So what happens is that you're not giving a rosy picture of any profession. Okay, tell them, oh, you get into the engineering and your life is settled. That's what normally the statement I have heard. But tell them that these are the harsh realities. Tell them the percentage. Okay, out of 100 engineers, only 25% is getting employment now because of the lack of construction activities. Or give them the realities of what are the challenges faced in that profession. Who can give you, not a person who has memorized all these. Okay, if you want to do engineering, do this. Career counselors normally are trained people. They have no experience, but they have learned stuff. So I'm not against that, but they give you only information based on what they have studied and learned. But when you're talking about resource persons or the people who have actually done it, they are speaking from their heart because they have actually done it. So if you're calling an electrician or a plumber, even a plumber, okay, what is his experience of fixing pipes? How does he go about his, or an electrician or a person who works with clay or a farmer or a car mechanic. So a car mechanic can tell so many things inside the car engine that, what are the things that he looks for when the car has a breakdown. So all this is a learning experience. And who is teaching them? The person who are actually doing it, not some person who is actually done this from the textbook. So that is real learning, to learn new skills from people who are actually doing it. And equal weightage for all subjects. So a person who is doing music and art is as good as a person who is doing science and maths. Right now in society, somehow, I don't know who has formed it, there is a hierarchy. Okay, science guys are very high up on the pedestal. Then comes commerce and then comes art. So there is a mindset the parents have created, right? That you have to go for science because otherwise people will think that you are useless. Right? So that these are mindsets. Okay, you don't go for arts, okay, because people will think that you are good for nothing, and then you didn't get commerce and science in your school. That is why you are taking humanities. So these are the general perceptions. So equal weightage for everything, whether you are taking science, commerce, arts, that's a different thing. Even if you take a subject like music, painting, and all that, the government NEP 2020 says that give equal weightage, not grades. Give them marks as you give for maths and science. So if you're learning about music, learn about the musical instruments, how it is played, who are the great exponents of that instrument, learn about the different tals or the rags. So there is a lot of learning, and then there is an assessment. Not that you are having a music class and the child is knowing nothing about any musical instruments, right? So this is what real learning with equal weightage. So as I said, you have to integrate a lot of art into your teaching. So what is art integration? And already the government has emphasized. In fact, this year, if you are a school with having up to class 10 and 12, it is mandatory for you to do an art integration project up to class 10, without which you are not going to get your admit cards, right? And if you are a school up to 12, then art integrated learning has to be recorded in that site for getting your admit cards for 1 to 12 students. So painting, drama, music, clay modeling, mime, dance, singing, instrumental, any form of art integration, you need to prepare your classes with one art form, right? So if you look at the circular of Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat, Tamil Nadu is clubbed with one state. I hope you're aware of that. Which is your paired state? Anybody knows? Like in Delhi, we are paired with Sikkim. So Tamil Nadu must be paired with another state. So that pairing state is important because you're learning about that state as well, right? It's not only learning about your state. You are integrating the art forms of that particular state in your projects, in your classes. So this is what art integration is. And new textbooks, as I told, are in the process. We are in the process of developing this. It is going to take a few more months. Once the textbooks are going to come, then we'll realize that how much is going to be reduced and what will be the true essence of the NEP. So this is going to be a digital version of the books are going to come on Diksha app, which you are, I'm sure if you're already using it. If you're not using, please download it from Play Store. I'm sure most of you are using Android phones. Those who are having Android phones, you can download this app, Diksha app. There are lots and lots of courses for teachers. You can do those courses and upgrade yourself at your own convenience. And if you are not having an Android and you are having an Apple, then I'm sorry, it is still not available on the iOS platform. But for all Android phones, you can download the Diksha app, and very, very good courses are there for all teachers. And so the digital version of these books will be available on the Diksha app. And supplementary material will be as per local needs. So that is not going to be uniform across the country. The local textbooks, the local flavor has to be introduced in the NEP. So textbooks in Tamil Nadu or textbooks in Delhi or Maharashtra will have little bit of local content, which is different from the others. Of course, there will be a national curriculum, but besides that, the state flavor will also be there. And reduced weight of school bags. Already the High Court has given a decision on this, that the weight of the school bags will be reduced. So what is the vision for India? That is inculcating mathematical and computational thinking, including contemporary subjects. Now, contemporary subjects are subjects which normally we like AI, design thinking and all that. Normally it is not part of a curriculum, but it needs to be, okay? Global citizenship, education, environmental, all are very, very important. Organic living. See how interesting and how beautiful the topics are. Artificial intelligence. Everything that we do is now AI. When we are doing a Google search, we will get some ads corresponding to, you know, what was our previous search. So our phone is actually recording our moods, behaviors accordingly. It will give you suggestions, right? You go to YouTube, they will give you suggestive videos based on what you have already watched. The whole thing is now going to be designed on environment, because the environment, as you know, is already polluted. So it becomes a duty of mankind right now to save our planet Earth. So there's going to be a lot of emphasis on that. And global citizenship. Right now, we are so narrow-minded, living in small places. Okay, I am from this state, I am from this country. What about creating a global citizenship? The whole world is one. We are all children of God, one place, and we all think alike and contribute to the growth of the planet Earth. So how wonderful is that? That vision of a global citizenship. So we are not citizen of a state or a country or a continent, but a world in large. So you start working to enhance the concept of the global citizenship. That means everybody is your brother. Then what happens? There is no war. And the amount of money that you are spending on war can be done for, so there'll be no poverty, illiteracy, because of which, you know, people are dying. So more than war, people are dying of hunger. More than war, people are dying of diseases, lack of infrastructure because of illiteracy. All these are more social evils as compared to war, because actual war will kill less people as compared to all these social evils. So for all this, we need good training programs. So somebody was suggesting the other day, how are we going to do all this? So there is going to be training programs for this, which we can enroll. Like in Diksha, I told you, Diksha is an app which the government gives. There are a lot of CBSE training programs. There are a lot of private workshops happening. So you can upgrade yourself in whatever department you feel that you are not good at. So we organize a lot of programs on different topics. So you can enroll for these programs and get yourself upgraded in making your classes innovative, in making your classes interesting, in making your classes more dynamic. Art integrated learning has to happen and experiential learning has to happen. So there's going to be a lot of training programs. The B.Ed, existing B.Ed is going to be revamped. A new structure is going to be formed, and a new curriculum for B.Ed will also be there. It's no longer going to be that 1-year course or 2-year course. It's going to be an integrated course, just like you go for engineering 4-year course. It's going to be a graduation plus a B.Ed integrated course. So that means some teachers are, you know what happens, some of the teachers have become teachers by chance and some become by choice. So there's a difference. So some people try here and there, they don't get any job, they go for teaching. That is called, you are a teacher by chance. And some people want by choice. I am passionate about teaching. I like my subject. I want to share this knowledge with my students. I want to bring about a change. That is my vision, my mission, my vocation, and my profession, right? So there are 3 aspects of a person's life. One is a profession, that you are doing something. What happens is that you are getting paid for your work. So that's a normal profession. Okay. But when you do something with passion, you are enjoying teaching, that's not your profession now. You are taking it to a next level, right? It's not profession now. And if the world needs that, then all the more important. So your passion, your mission, your vocation, all that becomes your purpose in life, which in today's terms, in Japanese terminology, it is called the ikigai. If you have not heard about this, you can do, there are books on ikigai, that is finding your purpose in life. So if your profession, which is the least among all this, becomes your mission, your vocation, and the whole thing, it intersects together to give you your purpose in life. That is what NEP is all about. Finding your ikigai. That means you are earning money. That is also needed in life. You are working somewhere. You have a passion for it, but your mission is something else. And your vision is something else. You become part of the NEP movement and you are participating in that, not trying to create roadblocks. Oh, I don't like this. This is a bad idea. Because this is the vision for a new India. So this is the teacher training program that's going to happen. So after all this learning process, now what happens to the assessment, right? That is what the next question is. We are doing all this, but what happens to the assessment? So as I told you, every class will have learning outcomes. Okay. So learning outcomes means this is minimum learning outcomes, not maximum. So if the child is in class 3, before class 2, the first 5 years, when the child reaches to class 2, the child should know tables up to 1 to 5. He should know to read simple words. He should know how to, let's say, read 2 languages. So minimum learning outcomes should be there. Minimum learning outcomes should be there. So at the stage, at that every stage, 5 plus 3, what you're talking about, after the end of 5 years, after the end of the next 3, there'll be learning outcomes. Has the child really learned what the child is supposed to learn in that? So that will be tracked through AI systems. So that is the tracking of the learning outcomes. Board exams are going to get more flexible. Already, if you see the IITs, IIT was held once in a year, and they have already now increased to multiple times. So you see the flexibility that is IITs are offering now. So boards are also going to be flexible. So the proposal is that now board exams can be taken twice a year. That is just a proposal I'm saying. It is nothing, nowhere implemented as of now. So which means that if I am prepared with my course, I can give the test in December also, and I can give it in March. If I'm prepared with 2 subjects in December, I can give 2 subjects now, and the remaining I can give in March. Okay. I am prepared with 3 now, I can give 3, 2 I can give later. So flexibility in giving the exam. So assessments are over, at least the child has to concentrate only on the remaining now, instead of giving all 5 or 6 subjects in the board exam, and that's increasing the stress level. So if I'm prepared with 1 or 2, I can give it. So they're working out a detail where more flexibility is given and the child can attempt it in 2 shots, not in 1 shot continuously. So as I said, there's going to be an AI-based software to track the progress and enable them to make optimal career choices. So since they're going to track the child's progress right from the play school up to class 12, the AI will be able to identify what is the characteristic of the child, what is he good in. So accordingly, careers can be decided easily based on that assessment. And National Assessment Center will bring about synergy between various boards. Now there is a problem that CBSE is doing something, ICSE is doing something, state boards are doing something. So the National Assessment Center has been roped in to bring about synergy, cooperation between the 3, so that the NEP can be introduced in the true spirit across all boards. And the National Testing Agency, that is the biggest agency for testing, which are already doing the big competitive exams, they are going to give you high quality aptitude testing, which is eliminating the need for coaching of exams. So coaching centers are a big business. So what is going, they are offering a lot of aptitude testing and they take thousands of rupees sometimes. All that is going to get eliminated because National Testing Agency will offer it free of cost to all the students, so that the children can attend all this free of cost and identify what is he suited for. Okay. Then coming to the next part, as I said, the exams format will definitely change into something which is not based on rote learning and memorizing, but application based. So not that straight away lifted from the book, what is this? Or fill in the blanks, this. No. It is going to be a little bit of things which the child has experienced, which the child will, all children with minimum learning outcomes should be able to answer those questions. Those kind of questions will be asked in the exams. And after the assessment, the next part comes the progress report card. So it's not going to be a report card just made by the teachers. Right now, what is happening? A report card is made and that is by the teacher and given to the parents. That's it. So a holistic progress report card will be made. So it's going to be a 360-degree multi-dimensional report. That's what they say in the NEP report, 360-degree multi-dimensional report. So what does it mean? It means from 4 corners, 360 degrees. So your degrees will be, first is self, peer and teacher assessment. So right now what is happening, only teacher is assessing it. Now you will have a peer assessment. What do the others think about you? Very important, because man is a social animal. You cannot work in isolation. You are working in an organization in groups. So what if a child is given in some work in groups, then what happens if you are given in groups? Then 3 people work, 2 are not working. And then they complain, ma'am, he didn't do anything. Ma'am, he always fights with us. So these are the issues. They are not able to cope up in a group. So that is the peer report. We are social, which means we should be able to engage with people around us. If you are so autocratic, you are not a person who listens to others. You want only what you say is correct and the others, then you cannot work in a group. So when the child is working in a group for any project or anything in the school, the peer assessment is important. So you gave an English drama and one of the characters is not cooperating, then what happens? The play will not be as successful. So peer assessment and self-assessment. What do I think about myself? That is also important. Okay. So because, if you follow that psychology, there are 4 kinds of people. I am okay. You are not okay. Okay. You feel that I am okay. You are not okay. The other kind is I am okay. You are also okay. Everything is okay, right? For them, everything is fine. Then the other is you are, I am okay, but you are not okay. So different combinations will come. Combinations in that. You are not okay. I am also not okay. There are some kind of people who think that everything is bogus. They don't believe in life itself. I am also not okay. You are also not okay. Okay. Or you are okay. I am not okay. That is also the 4th kind of people. So we have different kind of people. So that is important. What do you think about yourself? Am I a good teacher? Am I putting in effort? Is my passion showing in my classes, or I am just coming to school for my salary, not giving my lectures properly? Are children interesting? Am I compassionate to them? Am I sympathetic to them? Am I empathetic to them? All these factors will decide your assessment, self-assessment about yourself. So the child is going to self-assess. The child may feel he is very good, but the peer assessment may is very bad. So the gradings will differ, you see. So when you work in a company, then what happens? In corporate and all that, they will give you promotion. And when they give you promotion, the boss has to think you are good. Then self-appraisal, you write your own thing. Okay, I did this, I did this. This is what you think, but this is what your colleagues think. This is what your boss thinks. All this is combined and then you get your hike in salary in corporate sectors. So here, something like that is going to be introduced, self, peer and teacher assessment. So that is called a 360-degree assessment, not only by the teacher. Teacher is not going to give you the final grade. It is a 360 degrees from peer and self also. So the reflection has to be on cognitive, socio-emotional and psychomotor domains, not only on the studies, but on other issues, a reflection on that. Projects and portfolios, you're already doing that. So that is one of the way to identify whether kids are understanding what you are speaking in the class. So a project or a portfolio is a record of what you have done in the class, is a very good way of collecting an evidence for your classes, right? That's an evidence, that's a learning outcome. So you have a learning objective and you have a learning outcome. So a project is a learning outcome of your objective. So if when you're making a lesson plan, you have a learning objective. Okay, when I complete this session, my students should know this, this, this. And then they submit a project. Then you analyze the project and find that the learning outcomes are not up to the mark, or the learning outcomes have exceeded the learning objectives. So depending on what sort of projects are being submitted. And then the active involvement of parents. Involve parents. There are some parents who are ready to help in various aspects. They may be professionals, they may be counselors, they may be people well placed in society, they may be farmers, they may be doctors, engineers. Call them for career counseling, call them for other skill development. They are going to help you because they are stakeholders in your school. They want their kids to do well and they'll be more than happy. So involvement of parents is encouraged in the NEP 2020. So overall, we are going to look forward to a changed curriculum. Overall, we are going to use a changed curriculum where each child is recognized and allowed to bloom. No child is to be neglected. Every child is to be recognized and allowed to bloom. That is the whole purpose of the NEP 2020. So with this, I end my presentation and I'm free. You are free to ask any questions. If you are having any doubt, then I will be more than happy to answer that.